from Carlsbad Public Library. It's Mrs. Neiman here. I have been gone for a few weeks because of illness, but I'm back now, and I hope you guys are ready to have a fun story time. So today, here at the library, when I got to work, the power was out. I don't know if you are experiencing any of that at your home. I hope you stay warm. The power came back on, so we're going to go ahead and do our story time today. The library is open, and we are going to have to wait a couple hours to turn our public computers on because of possible issues with electricity going up and down. But as long as we have power, you're welcome to come down and look at books and things like that. So always call us ahead if you need to. The library phone number is 885-6776. Okay, well, let's get going here with our story time. Our topic today is birds. And you might think our letter for today would then be B because letter B starts with bird. The word bird starts with letter B. But we've done the letter B a couple times. So I thought, well, let's do a different one. We're going to do letter F because birds have feathers, don't they? So let's get a look at what letter F looks like. Okay, here is our letter F, and you can see capital F and small f look different. Let's practice writing our capital F in the air. Okay, we do a straight line down. We go back up to the top and we do a little line across and then another one across a little bit down, farther down. Let's do that again. So straight line down, line across the top, and another one in the middle. One more time. Down, line, line. Good job. Okay, now let's try our small letter F. You can see there's a little hook on the top instead of a straight line. So we're going to start out with a little hook, and then we're going to go and make a little cross right here, a cross line there. So a fish hook and a line, a fish hook and a line. Now, what animal do you see on this card? It's a little frog, isn't it? Do you know what sound a frog makes? Ribbit, ribbit, or croak, croak. Yeah. Here is another animal that starts with letter F. Isn't this a beautiful yellow fish? Fish starts with letter F. And finally, I have another card here. It says F is for fox. This is a very handsome fox walking through the snow. Did you enjoy the snow this past few days? I don't think one of my dogs liked it. The other one didn't like it too much. Okay, so now let's do a little riddle with the letter F. So I'm thinking of something that would come in very handy if your power did go out. Usually it has some batteries and it can brighten up a dark room. Can you think what that might be? Did you guess flashlight? Look at this, I could turn it on. Oops, there we go. There's on and off, on and off. So flashlight, this is a really small flashlight. I'm sure you probably have a bigger one at your house. Now I'm thinking of a vehicle. A lot of times they're red, they might have ladders on them, and they're very helpful if there's an emergency. And they do have a loud siren. Can you think of what that vehicle is? Did you get a fire engine or a fire truck? I've got a little toy one right here. It's got the ladder on the side. And of course, if there's an emergency, the fire truck can come help put out a fire. And of course, our fire department even has some medical team. They can help you out, get you to the hospital with their fire and rescue trucks. So they're awesome. And now here is what inspired me to do the letter F. This is something that birds have that helps them to fly. Did you guess a feather? Yes, look at that. There's some little fluffy parts down here. And then there's this soft flat part here and a little stem. We'll talk about feathers in a little bit. But that's our letter F for today. So let's do some bird facts before we get started with our stories. Look, I forgot to show you. I've got Woodstock the yellow bird from the Peanuts cartoon here. Isn't he cute and fluffy? I love that cartoon and I love Woodstock. He's just a good friend to Snoopy the dog, isn't he? Okay, so at the library, we have tons and tons of books about all kinds of animals, including birds. So I'm not going to read this whole book to you, but we're mainly just going to look at some pictures. So here on this first page, we've got a very big picture of a feather. The bottom part of the feather, which is this part right here, that's called the quill of the feather. So that's a, you're not here for me to share this with you, but this is a really hard, it almost feels like plastic or something. Substance is the same kind of substance that hair and fingernails and animal horns are made out of. It's keratin. So, then this part is real soft and fluffy. Birds, sometimes if you observe birds, you'll see them leaning over and just kind of fluffing around with their feathers. They're grooming their feathers so that they work better. The feathers are very flexible on this side of the quill. So they can get out of place and ruffled up, and the bird will smooth it out so that the feathers can work and help it to fly. Look at all these different kinds of feathers we have. Do you know what kind of feather this is? Let me show you better. That's a peacock feather. It's just beautiful. Here's a pheasant feather. That's another big long feather. We do have pheasants, and I know of at least one farmer who's got some peacocks. Two farmers I can think of. And then here's a bunch of other beautiful colored feathers. Birds come in all different colors and sizes. There's just so many. Now, where do you think that birds live? Have you ever seen a bird having a, maybe they go in a birdhouse that a person made, maybe they have a nest in a tree. Here is an example of a nest. It's something that the bird can build. Believe it or not, birds can build things. And they bird build the exact kind of nest that they need to raise their little babies in. So this one has some moss and some sticks and grass. It's got some pieces of feather. It's got all kinds of things that the bird has collected from around its neighborhood to make a cozy nest. And there are different shapes and sizes of nests depending on what kind of bird. Here's some other sizes and shapes of nests. They all have a place where the bird can go in and lay eggs. Speaking of eggs, the eggs of birds are just as different as the birds themselves. You can see some are very small, some are big, some are white. Here's some blue ones. A lot of kind of birds' eggs have speckles on them. In the spring, so not right now, but maybe in next month, you might find little tiny pieces of shell on the ground from a dove or something, or from when the babies hatch out and everything. I see those occasionally under trees, so you could be looking for that. Of course, the birds are kind of cold and hungry right now, so we have our bird feeder set up at home, and we've been putting out seed, and tons of birds have been coming. Well, check out this gigantic egg. This is an ostrich egg, and this black egg is an emu egg. When the emu lays the egg, it's kind of a dark green, and then it changes to this beautiful, startling black color. I mean, it's just really different, isn't it? Okay. And here is how you might find, if you have a little egg hatchery set up, you might see this going on. We start out with a very small little hole right here. The bird on the inside, the baby bird has a special little pointed part on its beak to help it break the shell when it's ready to come out. And it makes a little circular tip that just revolves around in the egg, and it tips out a little all the way around the egg until the top of the egg can come off. Here it is. Here it is, pushing its eggshell off. And oh, there's our new little baby bird. It doesn't quite look like a bird yet. because it's got just a few damp little uh, immature feathers there, but you can kind of see it's got a tiny little beak and it's got its little bird legs there. And now when a bird is growing up, the birds in their nest are here and they have their mouths open. They're waiting for mommy and daddy to come and feed them. And they start getting their feathers going in. And you can see their wings are growing feathers. And finally, here we have a whole nest full of little baby birds, and they need to learn how to fly. So that's kind of how baby birds come into the world. And I'm going to hold up my feather again here. I wanted to show you this. If you pull on the feather, it comes apart like that. But if you kind of hold it together, it's got little barbs on the sides of each of those little fibers, and that's how the bird can smooth out its ruffled feathers. Well, let me have a drink here. So let's have a story about birds. This one is by Kevin Henkes, illustrated by Laura Dronzek, and it's just called Birds. Here's a spring scene. Look at all those colors. In the morning, I hear birds singing through the open window. Now, this is a robin. We have robins in Carlsbad, so you might see a brown bird with a red tummy. Birds can be yellow or blue or brown or red or even green, I think. Can you see all those birds in this picture? Let's see if we can find one. Where is the red bird? Right here. Good. How about the green bird? Do you see it? Right down here. What about the yellow bird? There's the yellow one. And how about the blue bird? Right there. Good job. Sometimes birds are so black that you can't see their eyes or their feathers, just their shapes. That might be one of our local grackles, or it could be a raven or a blackbird. Birds can be big. This is a big kind of bird. It's so big, its whole body is off the picture. So, what bird is that? Do you know what kind of bird is bright pink like that? That's a flamingo. And they get their pink color from eating a certain kind of, I think it's like like shrimps and things like that that they eat. Now, don't quote me on that, but it's some kind of a creature that they find in the water that has a pink color. Birds can also be very little. Do you know what kind of bird that tiny little bird is? That's a hummingbird. We get hummingbirds here in Carlsbad in the summertime. Or they can be any size in between. This is a bluebird here. What's this one? An owl. The owls can be pretty big. And we certainly have gulls here in Carlsbad all over the place. And I'm not sure what that one is. That might be an oriole. That might be a little sandpiper. Once I saw 7 birds on a telephone wire. They didn't move, and they didn't move, and they didn't move. They were just sitting. I looked away for just a second, and they were gone. Oh my goodness, they all flew away. If birds made marks with their feathers when they flew, think what the sky would look like. Have you ever looked up in the sky and seen an airplane and there's like a little trail it leaves behind? What if birds left a little trail behind? You'd have red and brown and all kinds of crazy streaks in the air. If clouds were birds, the sky would look like this. Or maybe this. This is how birds tuck their little heads under their wings to go to sleep. Sometimes in winter, a bird in a tree looks like one red leaf left over. Oh, hi, Mr. Irvy in class. I see you are watching. Thank you for tuning in today. If there are lots of birds in one tree and they all fly away at the same time, it looks like the tree yelled, "Surprise!" If I were a bird, I'd ask where all the other birds go when it's stormy and they can't get home their nests. I think sometimes the birds hide under the leaves and wait for the bad weather to pass. I like to pretend I am a bird. I can't really fly, but I can do this. I can sing. That's right. I bet you can sing too. Well, that's our little story about that. Let's try a little rhyme about birds before we go to our next book. All right, hold up your two fingers. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill. One named Jack, one named Jill. Fly away, Jack. Fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack. Come back, Jill. Now we're going to do that same little rhyme, but with some differences. We're going to call our birds loud and soft. Two little blackbirds sitting on a cloud, one named Soft, the other named Loud. Fly away, Soft, fly away, Loud. Come back, Soft, come back, Loud. And one more. Two little blackbirds sitting on a stick, one named Slow, the other named Quick. Fly away, Slow, fly away, quick. Come back, Slow, come back, quick. You like that rhyme? I do. Especially, I think my favorite is soft and loud. Now, I know that you see birds flying around the neighborhood if you're looking for them. Did you know there are three kinds of animals that can fly? Can you think of some other animals besides birds that can fly? What can you think of? How about insects? Insects can fly. And one more. Can you think of one more kind of animal that can fly? How about bats? Yes, so bats and insects and birds are the three kinds of animals that can fly. But not all birds can fly. Can you think of any birds that don't fly? How about a bird that lives at the South Pole? Black and white bird, penguin, right? They don't fly. They're really good swimmers though. And what about, I'm thinking of another one that doesn't fly. It's really, really big, but it's fast, even though it can't fly. Can you think of what that is? Ostrich, right. If you said ostrich, you're correct. So ostriches are too big and heavy to fly, even though they have feathers, but they have really powerful legs so they can run quite fast. So, all right, I'm going to take another sip here. So our next book is about a very nice little owl. And this one's written by Lauren Sassy, illustrated by Lyson Chaperon. It's called Love is Kind. I think you're going to like this one. Here is our friend Owl. Little Owl jingled the coins in his pocket. It was Grammy's birthday. And finally, he had enough money to buy her something special. He wanted to buy her a heart-shaped box of chocolates. He took out the coins, so shiny and new and ready to spend. But then, what happened? He's tripped, hasn't he? Oh no, come back. The coins rolled down until wobble ping, they landed right by Beaver's dam. So here's Beaver family with their dam, and the coins rolled all the way down the hill. Little Beaver cheered, Mommy, you were wrong. The tooth fairy came after all. She brought me 3 silver coins. Wait, little owl hollered, those are. But then he stopped. Beaver looked so happy. Wow, you're lucky. Have a terrific day, said little owl. His gift for Grammy would have to wait. Well, wasn't that nice of him? He allowed little Beaver to have his coins and he didn't spoil his surprise. As he headed back home, something caught little owl's eye. He found $1. Money, I can buy that heart-shaped box of chocolates for Grammy after all. But that's when he saw the sign. Missing $1. If found, please return to Mrs. Mouse. Little Owl's feathers quivered. He really wanted those chocolates. for Grammy, but he also did not want to buy them with Mrs. Mouse's money. Ding dong, I think this is yours. Mrs. Mouse clapped her paws. Thank you. Now I can get the nursery ready. Mr. Mouse and I are expecting babies. Little Owl smiled. That's wonderful news. Congratulations. Little Owl shuffled on, and then you see there's some little bugs having a tea party and a sunflower. Thump, he bumped into Rabbit. Rabbit had three heart-shaped boxes of chocolates for Ma, for Pa, and one for me. Little Owl's feathers stood on end. You have three? That's not. Hmm. Little Owl stopped. Getting angry wouldn't get Grammy any of those chocolates. So Little Owl took a deep breath. That's nice, Rabbit. Enjoy your candy. Thanks, said Rabbit. Then off she hopped. So on that page, Little Owl was thinking it wasn't fair that he had no boxes of chocolate to give to Grammy and Rabbit had three. Wow. Little Owl's heart felt empty. So much for getting Grammy something special for her birthday. But then Rabbit hopped back and handed Little Owl a coupon. So you can get some too. It's good for one box of Chipmunk's famous chocolates. A coupon. That's where you get. It's kind of like money, but you get something to at the grocery store. You have to give them their coupon. Little Owl flipped. Getting Grammy chocolates. I'm getting Grammy chocolates. He danced through the meadow to Chipmunk's chocolate shop. But just as he turned the corner, he spotted chipmunks holding a sign that said closed. Little Owl gasped. Are you closing for the day? I sure am, Chipmunk chattered. I need to make more chocolates for the morning. Little Owl gulped. I understand. Have a good night. Oh, Little Owl is disappointed again. And he's just trying to do something nice for his Grammy's birthday. Little Owl had nothing to give Grammy for her birthday, nothing but a crinkled coupon. Then, whoosh, the wind even blew that away. Oh gosh. Empty winged, Little Owl slumped all the way to Grammy's house. Why so glum? Grammy said. Little Owl tried to hold back the tears, and he told Grammy all about Beaver and Mrs. Mouse and Rabbit and Chipmunk's chocolate shop. Grammy smiled. Oh, Little Owl, you spread love everywhere you went today. That's better than a heart shaped box of chocolates. Little Owl's feathers twitched. Really? He looked at his reflection in Grammy's picture window and giggled. Well, it's not chocolate, but I guess I did give you a heart shaped gift after all. Me. Lots of owls have kind of a heart shaped face. And that is the best gift of all, said Grammy. So they got to spend time together and look, Grammy already had a cake, so they had a treat too. Have you ever had to go without something so that you could do something nice for somebody else? That's a nice thing to do. And it feels good on the inside. Well, now today we are going to get our craft kit out and I'm going to show you. Now, if you didn't have a craft kit, the craft that we're making today is pretty simple, so you might have some things on hand. Um, in our craft kit, we have a little baggie like this with some supplies. And then we have some extra pages. This is a page about roadrunners. They're a really cool bird that live right here in New Mexico. Mr. Neiman and I were very surprised to find one of these in our driveway the other day, a week ago. And we live in town, so usually we don't see roadrunners in town. Now, if you haven't seen one, there is one up at the zoo, at the Living Desert Zoo, or if you drive around in the country, sometimes you do see them running across the road. Another sheet we have in there for you is a drawing page for owls. And then we also have a picture of and some information about Western screech owls. This is from our New Mexico Game and Fish website. If you haven't visited that website, I highly recommend it. It's got tons of great information on there. So let's get started. Our owl craft is this little guy here. Now I've got my owl on a stick. If you would like to do that too, you can get a stick from your yard or go down to the park and find a stick, and or even a pencil would work instead if you want to try with a pencil. I'm going to use a little bit of glue today, glue or glue stick, whatever you have. And I'm also going to use a pair of scissors. So there's not too much that you need to gather. So here's my stick one I'm going to demonstrate. The other thing we're going to need is our cardboard. So this is about a 3x4 piece of cardboard with two little holes punched in the bottom. That's where we're going to put the owl's feet. We're going to use a small amount of yarn, a little bit of felt, or if you don't have felt or you didn't get a craft bag, you could use construction paper instead, I think. We also are going to use a piece of this pipe cleaner for our feet. And we have some wiggly eyes that we're going to use for the owl's face. So we're going to start with our yarn. You can see that our yarn is wrapped all the way around our cardboard. So let's start out with that. So you just start wrapping around. I'm going to try to get it nice and neat. I'm going to get it started. I kind of tucked the end of the yarn underneath the yarn as I'm wrapping so it doesn't stick out, but you know, if that's difficult, you could just glue it in place. All right, let's keep going. I'm just wrapping neatly. It's not too hard. And this cardboard that I'm using came from a shipping package. If you have I don't know, an Amazon box or something like that. Or you know what else would work is a cereal box. If you've got an empty cereal box, that would be fine. I know we ran out of our craft kits right away this month. We made the same number, but people just came and got them like crazy. So I realize you might not have gotten one, but we'll see if we can give you some ideas along the way in case you need to create your own little kit this morning. I'm almost done wrapping my cardboard. You can see it goes pretty quickly. I'm just taking my time. I'm just gonna kind of go all the way around. Okay, I'm just gonna pause for a minute. I'm gonna put my pipe cleaner in through these little holes here, and then I'm gonna keep wrapping. It's kind of in the way, isn't it? Maybe I should take that out. I'll take that out and then I'll put that in afterwards. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna tuck that in for now. I think I'll use the tip of my scissors to tuck that in. So if I can. Okay, I think I might want to glue that down. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. All right, so it's tucked in for now. Let's work on our ears. So on our sample owl, we have two little triangles glued onto the back. And why is that? That's not really the owl's ears, okay? Those are just some feathers that stick up, but they kind of look like animal ears to us. So you can see on the Western screech owl, there are some little tufts of feathers there. Okay, so I think I'll use pink for that. I've got a pink and an orange square, so I'm going to use the pink one for the ears. I'm just going to cut out a couple of triangles. There's one triangle. triangles have 3 sides, don't they? It's pretty easy to cut them out. Okay, and I'm going to use a little dab of glue on that. I don't know if glue stick or liquid glue would work better. Well, my glue is frozen up in the cold, I think. Oh, there it comes. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit, just a dab on one of the sides, and then I'm going to put it on here so that you can kind of see it sticking up. Okay, let's do the other side as well, and you can make your ear tufts as big as you would like. I made some kind of little ones. Okay, next let's do the eyes. If you don't have wiggly eyes at home, just cut out a couple of circles, draw a black pupil in the center, and you're all set. So we want to keep this part on the back, so turn it over and we're going to put the eyes on the front. I'm just going to put some glue on the back of my wiggly eye. Boop. You could practice before you glue it down and see where you want the eyes if you would like to do that. Kind of gives your owl different expressions depending on where you put the eyes, how close together you put them. Okay, so there's that part. Now what's missing? It's the little beak, right? So I have an orange piece. I think I'll use that. And I'm going to cut another triangle. You can cut the triangle long and skinny or short and wide, however you want to do it, and put a little glue on that. All right. And now we're going to put that on right under the eyes there. So what's left? Well, we need to do our feet. Okay, so I have my pipe cleaner and I've got my little holes here. I'm going to put that right in there. Okay, and I'm going to use my stick now, or if you're using a pencil or whatever you're using. I'm going to give that a couple of wraps around. Wrap this one around. You might need to experiment a little with your stick to find out how is the best way to organize it. And then if you want to, you can make a little loop so that your owl doesn't tip forward like this. I'm just wrapping it around. You might have to fiddle with it a little bit if you want it to stand up. Okay. And then once you've got it organized, you can have your, well, I can't show you when it's sitting down because that's below the camera, but you can have your owl stand up on the table or whatever you want to do. But I just kind of wrapped around the little feet like that. And there's your owl. So I hope you enjoy making your owl today. We will have Mother Goose time on Thursday if you'd like to join us for that. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching Story Time with me today. Have a great one. Bye-bye.